today we're going to talk about growth and decay. So some equations for growth and decay. Y equals a times 1 plus or minus r to the t. Now it's going to be a plus sign if it's growth and then a minus sign here if it's decay. So just keep that in mind. So let's say what those variables are. A is your starting amount. R is your rate. Okay, this needs to be as a decimal. So if it's a percent, make sure you change that into a decimal. And then T is your time. Again, plus if it's growth, minus if it's decay. Now a special kind of exponential growth is compound interest. So in compound interest, here's the formula for that. P is your principal. Which is the initial amount invested. Okay, A is your ending amount. R again is your rate. Make sure that says a decimal. And T is your time in years. Now, make sure it's in years. If it's in months, you need to change that to a decimal. And then we have this special thing of n. And n is the number of times your interest is compounded. In a year. Okay? So for example, if it's compounded quarterly, that's 4 times a year. Compounded monthly, that's 12 times a year, and so forth. So let's look at 3 examples and see if we can figure out which formula to use and get the answer. So the prize for a radio station contest begins with a $100 gift card. Once a day a name is announced, the person has 15 minutes to call, or the prize increases by 2.5% for the next day. How much will the card be if someone wins on day 10? So it says it's increasing, and I don't see anywhere in here where it says compound, so I know it's not compound interest. So if it's increasing, that's going to be my growth equation, which means I need a plus sign here with the R. And this is the equation that I'm going to use. So then I just have to plug in my values. A again is my initial amount, so the gift card started with $100, so that will go in for A. R is my rate, which is 2.5%. Remember, we need that as a decimal, so 2.5% out of 100 is 0.025. Or you can think of it as you need to move the decimal place 2 to the left since you're dividing by 100. So don't forget that, even though there's a decimal in this percent, you need to change that. And then time, in this case, we're winning on day 10. So 10 would be our exponent. So you can actually type this in to your calculator. For most of you, just the way it looks. So you type 100 parenthesis 1 plus 0.025, or you can write 1.025 because that's what that is. Exponent key. So remember, for most of you, the exponent key is this. Some of you have a y to an x or an x to a y. So make sure you know where those are in your calculator. Exponent of 10. So I got $128, and since it's money, I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, so it would be 1 penny, since it was 128.008. That's how much the gift card is worth after 10 days. Alright, let's look at the next example. Maria's parents invest $14,000 at 6% per year, compounded monthly. How much money will there be in the account after 10 years? So I see the word compounded. I know automatically then if this has to be compound interest. So here again is my formula for that. And I need to plug all of my numbers in. So P is the amount I invested, $14,000. 1 plus R, the rate 6%, 0.06. N against the number of times it's compounded, so it's compounded monthly, so that's 12 times a year. And then how many years? 10. So my exponent is n times t, so that's 12 times 10, so my exponent would be 120. Now again, you can type this into your calculator, but you need to make sure that this fraction bar, you use the divide sign, because we can't actually have a decimal inside a fraction. So if you use your fraction button on your calculator, you will get an error. So go ahead and type this in, 14,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.06 divided by 12 raised to the 120th power. I got, oops, I don't know where I was one there, 25471 to $25,471.55. So since it's money again, I'm going to round to 2 decimal places. Alright, last example. A fully inflated child's raft for a pool is losing 6.6% of its air every day. The raft originally contained 4,500 cubic inches of air. How much will be left in the raft after 7 days? So I don't see the word compound, so that I know it's going to be the growth or decay. And so it has the word losing here, which means it's getting smaller. So that's going to be our decay, so 1 minus R to the T. So let's put our numbers in. A is our starting amount. Our air amount is 4,500. 1 minus R, 6.6% is 0.066. T is 7 days. So we can go ahead and put this into our calculator. And I'm just going to round to the nearest cubic inch with 2,790 inches cubed. That's how much air is left. And that's really all there is to growth, decay, and compound interest. Just look for the keywords so that you know if it's growth, decay, or compound interest.